Hello, I'm Smokin' Joe, and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making Smokin' Joe's meatballs. What I've done is I've ground up my meat, and I like to turn it out onto a board. It's just a whole lot easier to work with. Breadcrumbs from day-old to 2-day-old Italian bread. 1 egg that will be well beaten. This was a large onion that I've diced up a little on the coarse side, but we're not going to use all of it. I've also ground up about 1.5 cups of Pecorino Romano cheese. And then a little bit later on, just to spice things up a little bit more, we're going to be putting Monterey Jack, some mozzarella, and some jalapeno pepper jack cheese on the inside of our meatballs. This is how I like to get started making my meatballs. I don't want to stir up the meat too much. You don't want to make it too mealy. So you want to keep the meat kind of coarse. I start off with approximately 1 cup of coarsely ground breadcrumbs. 1 well-beaten egg, about 1/2 cup of coarsely chopped onions, and again, everything that we do here at Smokin' Joe's is fresh, and approximately 1 cup of freshly grated Pecorino Romano or Parmesan cheese. As always in Smokin' Joe's kitchen, we don't mind getting messy. Once I've incorporated all of my dry ingredients, I'm going to add, as usual, our Smokin' Joe's Cajun barbecue sauce, which is the world's best flavor enhancer, no matter what food you mix it with. I like to just add some chopped garlic. Not too much, just a tablespoon or so. A pinch or 2 of black pepper. Ground, of course. A pinch or 2 of salt. And for every pound of ground meat, I like to add approximately 3 tablespoons or about 1/4 cup of Smokin' Joe's hot sauce. Now, of course, you could use more or less to taste, because as I've always said, Smokin' Joe's Cajun barbecue sauce is a flavor enhancer. So once we've put our Smokin' Joe's onto our meat, once again, we start to incorporate the Smokin' Joe's sauce into the ground meat. The reason I like to use a pork and beef mixture is because the pork brings into the beef a saltiness as well as an extra added moisture without having a whole bunch of fat added to it. So I grind up a very, very lean mixture, and it's usually somewhere in the neighborhood of about 95% lean. So there's not a whole lot of excess fat or cholesterol or anything bad for you in any of the Smokin' Joe recipes that we make at Smokin' Joe's kitchen. Alright, we're going to start making Smokin' Joe's meatballs right now. So what I do is I take a 2 1/4 inch ice cream scoop, and that gives me a real nice 2.5 to 3 ounce meatball. And they're all pretty much the same so that you don't have anybody fighting over which one is larger or smaller. At this time, I'm going to take some jalapeno pepper jack cheese, and with my thumb I've just made a little pocket, and I roll it into the meatball and I seal it up. I put it down on the bottom side onto a tray. I like to cover all of my trays with tin foil, aluminum foil, whatever you prefer to call it. And once again, the reason being is because when these come out of the oven, this is going to save me like 20 minutes of cleanup time in the kitchen. Now that you have the basic procedure down, I'm just going to start making these. All right, now that we have all of our meatballs all formed and ready to go, put them into an oven at 350 degrees for a half hour. Approximately the 15-minute point, we're going to open, we're going to roll them about halfway or just over. At that point in time, if you wanted to add them into a spaghetti sauce, you could take them out and put them into your spaghetti sauce also. Now it's been about 15 minutes at 350 degrees, so we're going to turn these meatballs. And all you want to do is flip them over. Now you can see what I was talking about, where there isn't a whole lot of grease or fat. Now that we've flipped them all over, we're going to put them back in. We're going to let them go for about another 15 to 16 minutes at 350 degrees. All right, our cooking time for our meatballs is now finished. And look at what we have here. Those meatballs look perfect. Nice, brown, finished. A little bit of cheese just popping out. Now that is a nice meatball. And that, my friends, is Smokin' Joe's Meatballs.